Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on Africa 24 English on 12 October 2025. Cameroonians will go to the polls to elect their new president of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa 24 is on the ground to bring to you daily coverage of the issues at stake in the election through its campaign journal. At 38 years old, Hiram Iyodi is the youngest candidate in the presidential election on 12 October 2025. He advocates for the state's reconstruction and energy transformation and the abolition of the franc CFA. Who is Iyodi? His portrait follows.
Coordinator of the political program of the Now movement of candidate Cameroon in the 2018 presidential campaign, Hiram Iyodi aims to lead Cameroon in the presidential election of October 12, 2025. A graduate in chemical process engineering in Canada and holder of a certificate in business management, Hiram Iyodi has spent his professional career in the field of oil and gas services, auditing and the development of energy, infrastructure and agro-industry projects. Aged 37, originally from Douala and nominated by the Cameroon Democratic Front in the October 12 election, Hiram Iyodi proposes a vision focused on 5 priorities: effective governance, a strengthened health system, employment-oriented education, fair justice and economic sovereignty.
Sur la période 2020-2030.
For the period 2020-2030, there are also 3 objectives. The first is to reorganize the structure of a state, which for us means a federal state with 3 levels of decision-making, with local authorities in charge of local development, regional authorities in charge of economic development and infrastructure, and central government focusing on managing matters of sovereignty, national political coherence, and development.
Je reviendrai sur le pourquoi des 5 régions et environ 400 communes.
On the economic front, the candidate is counting on a drastic reduction in the state spending, with the government reduced to 20 ministries from the current 65. He also plans to produce 6,005 megawatts of electricity by 2032 and implement other reforms.
Je souhaite qu'on ait gagné une indépendance et une souveraineté.
I want us to gain independence and autonomy on all fronts, particularly in the strategic and monetary terms, and to achieve energy self-sufficiency through the development of renewable energy sources such as hydroelectric and solar power. And finally, that we have strong industrialization that will drive growth, create value, and ultimately increase the volume of revenue that the state can capture.
De créer de la valeur, de donner de l'emploi.
Alongside his presentation, Hiram Iyodi launched the Vote Cameroon platform, a digital tool for citizens designed to enhance the transparency of the electoral process. A business leader turned political leader, Hiram Iyodi has been campaigning for several years for strong social justice, unapologetic Pan-Africanism, and the promotion of African cultures.
Despite their importance to Cameroon's economies, SMEs are struggling to grow, hampered by a lack of financing and informality. These are major issues at stake, which are at the heart of the presidential elections of the 12th October 2025. Sarah Yemele now highlights the stakes.
In Cameroon, small and medium-sized enterprises account for nearly 90% of the economy. However, they continue to face structural challenges such as limited access to finance, insufficient supervision, and the predominance of informal sector. With the presidential election of October 12, 2025 approaching, the importance of SMEs and job creation are becoming key issues in the election campaign.
Entre 2019 et 2024, nous avons enregistré une croissance spectaculaire.
Between 2019 and 2024, we saw spectacular growth in the number of small businesses in Cameroon. We now have 444,000, which is a significant increase compared to 2019, when we had significantly fewer, less than 240,000. It must be said that this growth has been somewhat slowed by the emergence of COVID, which has led to the disappearance of a large number of SMEs and other entrepreneurial momentum we have seen over the last 6 years.
Et toute cette dynamique en fait entrepreneuriale que nous avons enregistrée pendant ces 6 dernières années.
According to data from the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, Social Economy and Crafts, Cameroon had 3.7 million actors working in the informal sector in 2024. However, according to Achille Baslik III, Cameroon's Minister of SME, Social Economy and Crafts, the growth of SMEs demonstrates the vitality of the entrepreneurial spirit in Cameroon. The minister highlights the role of incubators, technical support, and state-based financing mechanisms in this growth.
Il est nécessaire que nous puissions
I therefore believe it is necessary to continue this momentum of support, but above all to provide guidance to these actors so that they can, in terms of professionalization, establish financial statements, enabling them to access financing, benefiting from training tailored to their sector of activity and take advantage of the opportunities available today.
Avoir des bilans comptables qui leur permettent en fait d'avoir accès au financement.
In order to maintain this progress, the government has provided nearly 200 million francs CFA in guarantees each year since 2022, in addition to forging new partnerships with organizations such as the AFDB, the Islamic Development Bank, and the IFC. The PISA program for 2024-2026 has already allocated 19.5 billion francs CFA through the Islamic Bank to support agribusiness, noted the minister, emphasizing that a national guarantee fund is also in the works to expand access to credit.
With the presidential election of 12 October 2025 approaching, national cohesion is emerging as a key issue in the context of social and political challenges. A report by Marie-Raphaël Antolo.
Beyond the simple vote, the election of the President of the Republic of Cameroon on October 12, 2025 is a major challenge for social cohesion, a pillar of stability and a guarantee of development. The crisis in the northwest and southwest region, the challenges at the northern borders, hate speech and identity-based withdrawal are all threats to peace and development. These challenges require leadership like that of President Paul Biya, according to his supporters. For me, the criteria are complete to effectively consider Mr. Paul Biya the outgoing candidate I support to be a true Pan-Africanist. He is a man I have come to know, but he remains a very enigmatic figure.
Il demeure un homme très énigmatique.
Corruption and economic inequality also reinforce feelings of exclusion. To address this, the government has established various institutions such as the National Anti-Corruption Commission and the National Financial Investigations Agency. Specialized courts have also been set up to deal with financial crimes. Another important initiative launched in 2017 under President Biya's leadership is the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism.
Paul Biya. C'est le symbole.
Paul Biya is a symbol of wisdom and moderation. He is a beggar for peace, as he himself describes himself. Experts also emphasize the role of the media and the inclusion of young people and women in the development process. These are essential conditions for strengthening national unity, which is vital for the prosperity of the Cameroonian nation.
We head to Bamenda, capital of the Northwest region, where tradition, modernity, and traces of the Anglophone crisis coexist. A city that stands strong thanks to the resilience of its inhabitants. A report by a special correspondent, Narcis
Welcome to Bamenda, capital of Cameroon's northwest region. As it perched at an altitude of over 1,600 meters among green hills, it is both beautiful and scarred by recent history. In the administrative center, the official buildings are a reminder of Bamenda's strategic role in regional life. Yet behind this facade, the security crisis linked to separatist ambitions has left its mark. The once bustling streets are now sometimes silent on so-called ghost town days, when shops and markets remain closed for fear of violence.
Les gens ont quitté leur...
People have left their homes and moved away, which is why we must create conditions to make the region more attractive. This is what we are doing, and this is why the Peace and Development Initiative has generated enthusiasm among young people in the region.
Paix et développement a suscité.
Bamenda also remains a land of culture and traditions. The chieftains and their palace bear witness to a centuries-old history punctuated by dances, masques, and ceremonies that continue despite the tensions. We are gradually moving towards peace. A peace must be accompanied by economic actors who must return to invest in our region. Faced with challenges, the city continues on its path towards modernity. The University of Bamenda and new hotels and infrastructure are a reminder of the desire to turn the page and offer young people prospects for the future.
La région regorge de génie.
The region is brimming with talented and ambitious people who are capable of leading many activities in several sectors. We need to harness the expertise of these talented individuals so that we can finally get 2 or 3 projects off the ground that will drive the region's economic recovery.
L'expertise de tout ce beau monde.
between cultural heritage, contemporary challenges posed by the crisis, and the desire for development, Bamenda continues its transformation, combining infrastructure projects and local activities while facing a delicate security situation.
Thank you for your loyalty to our media outlet, which brings to you coverage of the 2025 presidential elections in Cameroon through our campaign diary. Find a new edition on MyAfrica24, Africa's leading HD streaming platform, and on all our broadcast networks. In a moment, a new edition on Africa News.